Young Turks, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. A little while ago, the Congress and, of course, the President signed into law, passed the legislation changing some of the laws on credit card companies. Now, it wasn't perfect. It got implemented a little later, and it didn't have some provisions we would have liked. You know how the usual drill goes, but I liked it overall. And, and I like to say all the time, because I think it's true, that I'm perfectly willing to compromise if we can get the core of a bill that's pretty good, right? And I thought that the credit card bill was along those lines. So now we have some of the results. Well, it turns out that the credit card companies are having a little bit of trouble because they're used to ripping you off, and they make a tremendous amount of money doing that. So some of the things that the bill curtailed was they can't jack up your rates, your interest rates, for no reason. That seems like a pretty good idea, right? And of course, they're crying. They're like, oh, why are you grabbing me? Why are you grabbing me? I love the days when I could just jack up people's rates, even though they did absolutely nothing wrong. All right, so they're crying about that. And then the second thing is they can't charge you exorbitant rates if you're late or you went over your limit, et cetera. They can charge you rates. They can charge you fees, right? But not exorbitant fees. It makes sense. A little bit of consumer protection, right? Now, so what has been the reaction to this bill? They're trying to find other ways to charge you. Now, look, that makes sense too. Don't get me wrong. They're a private company. They're going to try to make as much money as possible. Now, some are complaining about that, but I think that's not really that legitimate a criticism. So let me explain. So, for example, the credit card companies are saying, hey, you know what, now we're going to encourage people to use their credit cards more because those swipe fees, every time you use your credit card, they charge the vendor, that restaurant that you went to or whatever it might be, about 2%, right? So they want to encourage you to use your card more so they can make more money off that. That's capitalism, baby. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, it's your choice whether you want to or you don't want to. Some people say, oh, but that encourages people to use credit card too much. Look, they are human beings. They got a mind. They can make up their own mind. I don't have a problem with that. And then secondly, credit card companies some of them are now trying to charge yearly fees. Now that's really annoying. I don't like it when they do it to me, but I don't see anything wrong with that either. Here's what I mean by that. That's their choice. If I don't like that Chase is doing that, maybe I go to Citibank or I go to another Discover. There's competition, and there's real competition. It's not like the insurance companies. And lo and behold, they tried doing that, and then a lot of them had to scale it back because there were so many cards that didn't charge you a yearly fee, and people started flocking to those. Oof, that's capitalism, baby. There's no problem with that. As long as we've got fair rules and nobody's ripping off consumers and nobody's taking taxpayer money, everything is fine. And look, if it turns out that the industry needs to charge that and then they get to that point, they do provide a service, right? And we like that service. I'm not outraged by that, right? Now, but here's a funny little thing about what happened as well. They say that the problem is the good consumers, the ones that pay their credit card debts back. So now they had massive trouble before because they lent out to everybody, gave the riskiest credit, and those people defaulted, and now so they got stuck with that bill, right? Hey, that's also capitalism, right? So, but now they're like, damn it. These guys that keep paying off their debt, bunch of deadbeats. Here, I got a great quote for you. This guy's from Curtis Arnold from cardratings.com. He says, the only true deadbeat customer is someone who has a card and never uses it. Okay, get out there and start using the card. And now the credit card companies don't want people with ratings above 800. That's the gold standard, right? Not a big deal. My credit rating happens to be above 800. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, look, I practice what I preach, right? I talk about fiscal discipline, and I'm not like the Republicans. I actually have it, right? Let's hope that doesn't get screwed up. Anyway, so now I'm apparently a bad customer. So they're going to try to rough talk me and run me out, right? So, but look, that's silly and it's goofy, and I'm amused by it. But, I get their motivation too. But then they shouldn't come crying later to taxpayers or to anybody else, oh, we only had bad credit risks, and can we dump that off on you, right? No, you're the ones that you're now saying that those are the guys you want. So don't get surprised if you crash. Final thing on this is, look, it's also possible that the credit card company should consider, hey, you know what? Under these normal rules of engagement, we're not going to make as much money as we used to when we were robbing folks. And that's life in the big city. Doesn't mean you're bankrupt. It doesn't mean you can't function. It means you're not going to make as much of a usurious profit as you used to. Get used to it. These are fair rules. Enjoy the competition. We once got to a red light, and we were stopped there, and then it turned green. And I said to my dad, GoDaddy.com. And then I thought, hey, you know what? Why not go there for domain names, too, since they're the world's largest? Cheap and easy. If you use a TYT promo code, it's even cheaper.